another fantastic example of how Yngwie uses the volcano pattern to connect to scale or playing on the top string, and I know you've heard it because it's this one. Of course, it's I'll See the Light Tonight, an amazing song that for a lot of people was probably the first Yngwie song they heard. There was a video for this on MTV. It was sort of unbelievable. It had smoke machines and lasers and animatronic dragon heads. Somebody put some serious B-movie level Hollywood budget into this thing. I remember watching this on a small black and white TV in the kitchen at my grandmother's house in probably 8th grade or something. I couldn't have been playing guitar for maybe more than a few months at that point. And the overall effect of this, plus of course, the incredible guitar playing, was just totally bewildering. So if I'll See the Light Tonight was your first Yngwie song, then that incredible arpeggiated rocket ship salute at the beginning of the solo may very well have been your first Yngwie lick. And it is a damn good introduction to the style. Arpeggios, of course, back in the day were totally mysterious, and then the way it connects to fours, one of the trickiest patterns you will encounter in everyday playing, is equally mysterious, especially if you don't know how Yngwie is doing it, and especially if you try playing it across the strings when a pattern becomes almost impossible. So, how does Yngwie do it? Well, we've already looked at the arpeggio mechanics, and in this case, he's using the familiar root position minor arpeggio shape. We originally saw it down here on the open strings. Here it's transposed up an octave, so now we have it spanning the 12th frets to the 17th frets. Now the interesting flip that's happening here is that instead of the classic upstroke, upstroke, down, down, down sequence, which we've come to know and love, he's flipped it around so that now the arpeggio ascends and then descends. That means we're starting with the sweep side of the mechanic. So the sequence now is down, 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 upstroke, upstroke. Upstroke, pull off. And then upstroke, upstroke. Stroke, downstroke. That last downstroke of the pattern means that now we're finishing on the G string, and if we're going to connect this to fours on a downstroke with one note on a string only, how do we do it? Of course, we know how that's done. It's sweeping. And when we're connecting a sweep phrase to a single string lick, what is the best way to do that in the Yngwie system? Of course, we know what the answer to that is too. It is the volcano pattern. Those 6 notes that we've come to know and love are right here, and you connect the arpeggio to it with a downward sweep. So you're sweeping into the volcano pattern just as you would if you were playing a 3-note per string scale sequence, except here now we've swapped that out. We've replaced it with the arpeggio sequence. How cool is that? So this downstroke on the G string, on the root note A, fret 14 of the G string, just continues right into the volcano pattern. That's 6 notes ascending. And if you think about it, how unusual that is, it's not 3 notes per string except on the B string. There's just 1 note on the G, then you sweep into the down, up, down on the B. Then you have down, up, you sweep into down, up on the high E. So really, it's, if you wrote this out on a staff, you would see 6 notes ascending. But the way that that's actually laid out here is kind of bizarre and also ingenious at the same time. Those 2 notes on the top string, as always is the case with the volcano pattern, turns the direction of the lick around so that that upstroke then moves down to the B string. Now we're on top of the B string. We come down on that single note on the B string. We sweep right through to the top E string, and then we're ready to start the ascending 4 sequence. But if you think about it, this pattern of 4s, when Yngwie does it ascending, we've talked about this, he turns the rhythm around so that instead of just 4 ascending notes at a clip, it's really like an inverted V type of pattern. So that means when we sweep through from the volcano pattern, we have to sweep up through really 3 or 4 notes until we hit that target, that landmark note on the pinky. Then we can chunk our way through the ascending 4s pattern. So the system of connections here is really pretty amazing, and it's sophisticated. We have the arpeggio sweeping into the volcano pattern. The volcano pattern sweeping through a little 3-note pickup. And then we can chunk our way through the fourths pattern using that familiar sort of converging hands feeling of that pinky slide and the downstroke that starts the pattern. And speaking of patterns, we're starting to see a pattern here. When Yngwie wants to connect swept scalar phrases, or let's say positional scalar phrases, to single string scalar phrases, how does he do it? Well, he very often does this with the volcano pattern. And that volcano pattern is this one last repetition of the volcano pattern on the top two strings, and it serves as almost a kind of gateway that lets him get set up properly for the chunking that needs to happen to get the synchronization working on the top strings. At least that's one way you can think about it. There's this, it's one last way station. It's like the toll booth right before you get on the expressway or the highway. You play that thing, and then you have a little pickup, those three notes that gets you into the ascending fourths pattern, and then you're on your way, or wherever it is that you're going to take the lick after you play the volcano pattern. It's really a very flexible device that adds melodic interest into the flow of the line, but it also serves mechanically to get you set up properly on that downstroke to do whatever kind of chunked pattern or chunked line that you need to play on the top string. Now think about where we've seen this before. Remember that cool little melody figure in the other lick in I'll See the Light Tonight. Of course, it's the volcano pattern. And how amazing is that? This is a mechanical pattern that has now become 50% melody. It's almost like half man and half machine. This is the connection between the hardware and the software. And if you think about it, it's always that way on guitar. You can't escape the complexities of the mechanics. In fact, they're so intertwined with the music that the creative process is very often sparked by solving these mechanical problems. Here is an amazing little line that's already under his fingers. He already has that pattern. He has the picking structure for it. Why not make it lyrical? And he does it incredibly beautifully. So artfully done, really beautiful, and it's such a test case for the connection of all of these pieces together into one cohesive style in a way that, come on, I mean, who was going to figure this out? Hearing this on a record, I remember I actually tabbed out some of these licks in the purple notebook that we talk about in Cracking the Code. And I remember writing out either this one or something very similar to it, and getting to the point where the lick got to the first string, and it just kept going up and up and up, and being like, where are the frets? There's no more strings here. How is he getting even higher with this lick? I couldn't hear the transition. It was just this very artful connection of things. It's completely seamless to the outside. You don't hear it. And when he's on, man, nobody does this better. Nobody.